Rain poured softly on the silent dock. Metal ships rested under pale neon lights, their reflections trembling on black water. The place smelled of rust, oil, and loneliness. Evan Walker, a cargo pilot from Earth, had come to this forgotten port on the edge of the Andrus system. His ship was old, his heart heavier. He had lost everything in the last trade war: friends, money, and the woman who once promised to wait for him. He only wanted to refuel, sleep, and leave. But fate was already waiting. At the far end of the dock, where light barely reached, he noticed a figure sitting alone on a metal crate. She wasn't human. Her long dark hair shimmered with blue light, and her ears were slender and pointed like glass. A strange white dress clung to her frame, though torn at the edges. She stared at the water, not moving. For a moment Evan thought she was a statue. Then she blinked. He stepped closer. "Hey, you okay?" No answer. When she turned her face toward him, his breath caught. Her eyes glowed violet, soft yet distant, the kind of look someone carries when they've seen too many stars and lost them all. "I was supposed to leave," she whispered. Her voice was low, melodic, like wind over metal. "But they left without me." Evan frowned. "Who did?" "My people." She paused. "My groom." He almost laughed, thinking she was joking, but her expression stayed calm, broken, and far too real. A chill passed through the air. "What do you mean, your groom left you?" "They said I was too old." Her gaze drifted back to the dark sea. "Too old to mate. Too slow to travel. They abandoned me here to fade." Evan didn't know what to say. The war between humans and outer colonies had created many stories, but this, an alien bride left behind, sounded like a cruel myth. Yet she sat there, shivering slightly, with eyes full of quiet fire. He offered his jacket. "You shouldn't stay out here. Come aboard my ship. It's not much, but it's warm." She hesitated. "Humans don't help my kind." "I'm not most humans," Evan said simply. Lightning flashed above, throwing silver light across her face. For the first time, she smiled, small, unsure, but real. Inside his ship, she studied everything with fascination. The flickering lights, the hum of engines, the photo of a woman taped to the dashboard. Evan poured her some warm synth tea. "What's your name?" he asked. She looked at the cup as if it held memories. "Lyra." "Pretty name," he said. "So, what are you going to do now?" "I don't know." Her voice trembled. "I was created to serve a bond that no longer exists." That line hit him deeper than expected. Created to serve, abandoned when no longer useful. He'd seen soldiers treated the same way. "Then make a new bond," he said quietly. Lyra's eyes met his. "With you." He froze. The question was innocent, almost childlike, but something electric passed through the air. A pulse, a hum, like the ship itself held its breath. Before he could answer, a sudden alarm screamed from the control panel. "Incoming signal. Unknown source." Evan rushed to the screen. The coordinates were close, too close. Lyra stood behind him, her eyes widening in fear. "They found me," she whispered. "Who?" "My people. The ones who left me." The radar lit up red. 3 ships approaching fast. Evan looked at her, at those violet eyes now full of panic. "Why would they come back?" "They won't take me for love," she said. "They'll take me to erase me." He had no reason to risk his life for her. Yet something deep inside, maybe loneliness, maybe destiny, made the choice for him. Evan grabbed the throttle. "Hold on." The engines roared to life as the dock lights exploded behind them. The small freighter lifted, cutting through the storm, while laser fire burst in the clouds. Lyra gripped the seat, trembling. "Why are you helping me?" Evan's eyes stayed on the stars ahead. "Because nobody helped me when I was left behind." The ship vanished into hyperspace. Behind them, 3 alien crafts gave chase. And on the control screen, Lyra's reflection shimmered, her violet eyes glowing brighter, almost too bright to be human. The stars streaked like white fire outside the window as Evan's old freighter shot through hyperspace. The engines groaned, but they held. Inside the dim cockpit, only the soft pulse of the control lights broke the silence. Lyra sat across from him, her violet eyes still fixed on the radar, 3 red dots blinking behind them. "They won't stop," she said quietly. "Once they send a retrieval signal, they chase until the subject is destroyed." Evan's jaw tightened. "Destroyed? You said they just wanted to erase you." She nodded slowly. Erasing is the word they use for killing something that remembers too much. Her tone sent a cold shiver down his spine. He had fought smugglers, pirates, and mercenaries, but this was different. Whoever her people were, they had technology far beyond human ships. And yet, here she was, fragile, quiet, and scared. "What exactly are you?" he asked. Lyra looked down, twisting the edge of his jacket between her fingers. "My kind is called the Alindra. We were designed for bonding, emotional and genetic merging with chosen mates from other species. It was part of a treaty project, an experiment in peace." Evan frowned. "You mean, you were created to marry?" "In a way, yes. We carry encoded empathy, we can sense emotions, memories, even pain. That's why we're called brides of the stars. But when our host species no longer needs the bond, we are discarded." Her words cut through the hum of the ship like a blade. Evan stared ahead at the endless tunnel of light. "And your groom just left you behind?" She hesitated. "He said I was too old, that my empathy code was fading. I could no longer link perfectly." Evan shook his head. "That's not age, that's cruelty." A small smile touched her lips. "Humans are strange. You speak like we deserve better." He looked at her, really looked, and for a moment forgot the danger outside. The glow from the dashboard reflected in her violet eyes, making them seem alive, deep, almost endless. Then the radar beeped again. "Damn it," Evan muttered. "They're gaining." Lyra's voice turned soft but steady. "If they catch us, they'll erase your ship too. They can't let you live knowing I exist." "Not gonna happen," he said, flipping switches. "Hold tight." The freighter dropped out of hyperspace above a dead planet, a cold gray world floating between stars. Its surface shimmered with old ruins, cracked towers, and frozen rivers. The perfect place to hide, or to die. Evan landed the ship between 2 stone ridges. The engines hissed into silence. "Stay here," he said, grabbing his blaster. "I'll check outside." Lyra stood. "No. If they track me, they'll track my signal. I can block it, but I need open sky." "Can you really do that?" She nodded. "It will hurt, but it will work." He stared at her. "Hurt how?" Before she could answer, a faint hum rose from the horizon, the sound of approaching ships. They climbed a rocky hill, wind slicing across their faces. Above them, stars glowed cold and distant. Lyra closed her eyes and raised her hands. Her skin began to shimmer faintly, veins lighting up like threads of blue fire. "What are you doing?" Evan asked. "Disconnecting from my origin." The glow spread until her whole body pulsed like a living beacon. Then a wave of energy burst out, a soundless shock that rippled through the air. Evan fell to one knee, covering his ears though there was no noise, just pressure, like a storm made of emotion. Lyra screamed. And suddenly, the radar on his wrist blinked, all red dots vanished. It worked. But when he turned back, Lyra had collapsed. Her body trembled, eyes dimming from violet to gray. Hey, stay with me." Evan lifted her, heart pounding. "What did you do?" She smiled weakly. "I cut the link. They can't find me now. But I can't connect to anything, not even your thoughts." "You don't need to," he said fiercely. "Just breathe." Her eyelids fluttered. "You have a strange heart, human. Maybe that's why the stars sent you." Evan carried her back to the ship, his pulse racing. He didn't know why he cared so much. Maybe because she wasn't just some experiment to him anymore. She was real. And he'd be damned if he lost her too. Hours later, Lyra slept in the passenger seat, wrapped in a thermal blanket. Evan watched her quietly. Outside, the storm of space was calm, but deep inside the sensors, a faint signal reappeared. Not red. Not alien. A human transmission. It read, Evan Walker, surrender the Alindra unit immediately. You are harboring classified property of the Galactic Unity program. Evan froze. So it wasn't just her people who wanted her back, it was his own kind. He looked at Lyra sleeping peacefully and clenched his fists. Property, he muttered. Not while I'm alive. He switched off the comms and set a new course toward the edge of the known systems, a place no one dared to go. But far behind them, a massive cruiser turned its guns toward the stars, following their trail. Evan's ship, the Solace, cut silently through the black ocean of space. The engines purred low, almost whispering, as if afraid to disturb the stars. The destination was a nameless void, a sector so dangerous that even smugglers avoided it. It was called the Forbidden Zone. Lyra slept beside the cockpit, her breathing soft and even. For the first time in years, the ship didn't feel so empty. Evan glanced at her, then back at the radar. Nothing. No red dots, no signals. Just silence. But silence in space was never safe. He remembered the message from earlier. Evan Walker, surrender the Alindra unit immediately. A human message. So his own government, the Galactic Unity, was after her too. He muttered under his breath. What did they do to you, Lyra? Hours later, Lyra woke up. Her violet eyes flickered dimly, weaker than before. Where are we? She whispered. Far from your people, Evan said. And far from mine. She sat up slowly. The signal, it's gone? For now, he nodded. But someone else found it. Humans. They called you property. Her expression darkened, but her voice stayed calm. I am not property. I was made to feel, to love, to bond. That's what frightened them. They can't control what they don't understand. Evan stared at her. You're saying they built you? She looked away. No, they built my kind. We were born in labs, half organic, half energy. Each one of us was designed to match a single mind perfectly. But when bonds started breaking, we began to think for ourselves. That's when they tried to erase you, Evan said quietly. She nodded. They call it a reset. They take your memories, your emotions, and leave you hollow. I escaped before they could. He felt something twist in his chest. Then we're not running from aliens. We're running from humans pretending to play gods. Lyra's lips curved faintly. Then you see the truth. Suddenly, the radar beeped again. One blip. Then two. Then a swarm. Evan's eyes widened. They found us. Lyra's hand gripped the console. No, that's not human tech. Those are shadows. Shadows. She swallowed hard. Things that live in the zone. Machines that feed on power and memories. Before he could ask, the lights flickered. The hull vibrated, metal creaking under pressure. Outside, black shapes glided between the stars, smooth, eyeless, almost liquid. They circled the ship like sharks. Evan powered up the engines. We're getting out of here. Lyra's voice cut through the rising alarm. No. If you use the drive, they'll follow the energy trail. We have to stay quiet. Quiet. They're tearing through the shields. Trust me, she whispered. Let me try something. She stood, her hair floating as if pulled by invisible gravity. Her hands began to glow, not blue this time, but pure white. The air around her shimmered. The ship's humming stopped. The lights went still. Outside, the shadow creatures paused, drifting closer to the hull. One pressed its dark shape against the window. No eyes, no face, just a rippling void. Evan's breath hitched. Lyra. She placed a hand on the glass. Her voice dropped to a whisper, speaking in a language he didn't know. The creature twitched, its form breaking apart into strands of dark smoke, vanishing into nothing. One by one, the others followed, dissolving, fading, gone. When it was over, Lyra collapsed again. Evan caught her before she hit the floor. "What was that?" he asked, heart racing. "They're old, older than the Alindra," she breathed. "They feed on fear and memory. But they listen to emotion. I sang to them." He shook his head, stunned. "You sang to space ghosts." She smiled weakly. "We all have our ways to survive." Hours passed. The zone was silent again. Evan sat beside her, watching her rest. The ship drifted quietly near the ruins of an ancient ringworld, broken and hollow. He whispered, "You risked your life for mine. Why?" Lyra opened her eyes, just barely. "Because I felt your pain. You hide it behind anger, but it's there. Someone left you too." He froze. "My wife," he said softly. "She died during the Mars collapse. I never said goodbye." Lyra reached out and touched his hand. "Then maybe the stars brought us together to heal what was broken." Evan didn't reply, but he didn't pull away either. Then the calm light blinked again. Not red this time. Blue. A live feed opened on its own. A face appeared, a man in a black uniform, the insignia of the galactic unity behind him. "Captain Evan Walker," the man said coldly. "You've gone too far. The zone is restricted space. Turn over the Alindra unit immediately." Evan glared at the screen. "Not happening." The officer leaned forward. "Then you'll die with her. That creature carries a memory core capable of rewriting empathy. She's a weapon, not a woman." Evan's pulse thundered. "You're lying." "Am I?" "Check your ship logs, Walker. She's already rewriting you." The screen went dark. Evan turned to Lyra, but her eyes were glowing again, brighter than before, her body trembling as if something inside her was waking up. "Lyra," he whispered. "What are you?" Her voice cracked, almost human, almost alien. "I don't know anymore. The ruins swallowed them whole." Evan guided the Solace through narrow tunnels of shattered metal, sparks flashing outside like dying stars. Every turn looked the same: broken towers, hollow chambers, fragments of something ancient. "Radar's useless," he muttered. "This place eats every signal." Lyra stood beside him, her violet glow faint but steady. "That's why I brought us here. The ring was built by the first ones. Their technology blocks every kind of scan. We're invisible for now." Evan exhaled, half relieved, half terrified. "Let's hope the Unity ships don't get curious." The engines hummed low as the ship slid into a vast open chamber, the center of the ring. A sphere of light floated in the middle, calm and endless, like a frozen sun. "What is that?" Evan whispered. Lyra's eyes widened. "The heart. It powers the entire structure. It's alive." He frowned. "Alive?" "Yes," she said softly. "It feels everything inside this ring. Emotions, thoughts, even fear." Before Evan could answer, the heart pulsed once. A deep vibration passed through the hull, and the ship systems shut down. Lights faded, leaving only the glow of the sphere. "Lyra, what's happening?" "It's reading us," she murmured. Then the voice came, echoing inside their heads. "Alindra unit detected. Connection incomplete. Would you finish what was begun?" Lyra gasped, clutching her chest. "It knows me." Evan grabbed her shoulders. "Don't answer it." But it was too late. She stepped forward, drawn by the light. The glow wrapped around her like silk, lifting her gently into the air. "Lyra!" Evan shouted. Her voice was distant, filled with wonder. "I can see them, the first ones. They created my kind, not to control, but to heal. We were meant to share feelings between species, to stop wars." Then what went wrong? Evan asked. The humans took the design, she whispered. They twisted it into obedience. The heart pulsed again, and for a moment Evan saw flashes of memory. Cities burning, soldiers crying, and Lyra standing alone in endless light. The voice returned. You are the last bond. Complete the link, or both will fade. Evan shouted over the hum. What does that mean? Lyra turned toward him, tears in her glowing eyes. It wants me to finish the bond, with you. He froze. If you do, what happens? I don't know, she whispered. But if I don't, I'll die, and maybe you will too. Before he could stop her, the light flared, blinding, endless. Then everything went dark. When Evan opened his eyes, he wasn't on the ship anymore. He was floating in a world of light, no ground, no sky, just endless stars swirling around him. Lyra, he called. Her voice came from everywhere and nowhere. You're inside my core. He turned, and there she was, shining, half human, half energy. Her body shimmered like starlight trapped in glass. Where are we? He asked. In between, she said softly. This is the link space, the bond field created by the heart. It connects our minds. Evan frowned. Feels more like a dream. She smiled sadly. Dreams are the purest truth. Images flashed around them, his childhood on Earth, her creation in a cold lab, every pain and memory between them weaving together like threads of light. Evan gasped. You can see my life. I can feel it, she said. Your loneliness, your anger, your kindness. It's beautiful. He looked at her, heart pounding. Then feel this too. He stepped closer and touched her hand. The light around them flared, and for a heartbeat, their emotions merged. Fear, hope, love, all as one. Lyra's eyes filled with tears. This is what we were meant to be. Not weapons, but bridges. The heart's voice boomed again. Bond stabilized. Harmony restored. Then another voice cut through, the harsh tone of Admiral Ryden. Walker, do you read? We've breached the ring. Surrender now. Evan's mind snapped back. The illusion shattered. He was back on the Solace, alarms screaming. Outside, bright streaks of laser fire tore through the chamber. Unity ships had forced their way inside. Lyra lay unconscious beside him, her glow fading fast. Evan gritted his teeth. You're not taking her. He pulled the ship up, engines roaring to life again. The heart pulsed behind them, energy waves shaking the ruins. A voice echoed through the calm, Ryden again. You bonded with it, didn't you? You've doomed us all, Walker. Evan ignored him and shouted over the noise. Hang on, Lyra. As they rose toward the tunnel, Lyra stirred. Evan, the bond changed me. I can stop them. Stop them how? By giving the heart what it wants. He stared at her. Which is? Her expression softened. Balance. Emotion. Life. Before he could react, she stood and walked toward the cockpit window. Her hands glowed white, brighter than ever before. Lyra, wait. She smiled faintly. Thank you for showing me what love feels like. Then she vanished, her body dissolving into light that flowed straight into the heart. The entire ring erupted in brilliance. Every Unity ship froze mid-air, engines dead, weapons silent. The light expanded, swallowing them all in silence. Evan covered his eyes. Lyra. But when the light faded, only calm stars remained. The heart was gone. The ships were gone. The ring was silent once more. The Solace drifted alone in orbit, cold and quiet. Evan fell to his knees, tears slipping down his face. You said you wouldn't leave me. Then, faintly, from the ship's console, her voice whispered, soft, familiar, warm. I didn't. I'm here, inside the bond. He looked up, hope flickering in his eyes. Evan's heart pounded as the cockpit filled with strange light. Lyra stood motionless in front of him, eyes burning with violet fire that pulsed like a heartbeat. The glow spread across her skin, outlining veins of energy that shimmered beneath the surface, alive, powerful, and terrifying. "Lyra," he said quietly, "can you hear me?" No answer. Her gaze was distant, as if she was looking through him, seeing something far beyond the ship, beyond space itself. The lights on the control panels flickered. Every screen displayed strange symbols, spirals, pulses, geometric codes, as if her very presence was rewriting the ship. "System overload," the AI warned. Evan slammed his hand on the manual control. "Override. Shut it down." But it didn't work. The ship was no longer listening to him. Lyra's voice echoed, soft but layered, like multiple tones speaking at once. "I remember." She turned toward him slowly, her expression unreadable. "They called me a bride. But I was not made for love." Evan took a step back. "Then what were you made for?" Her voice trembled. "Connection. Control. They used us to test emotion on entire species, to pacify wars, to bend will. But something inside me broke the chain. I started to feel for real." The glow intensified, making the entire cockpit blaze like a small star. Evan shielded his eyes. "Lyra, stop. You'll burn the ship." Her voice cracked. "I can't. It's spreading." Then, just as suddenly as it began, the lights snapped off. Silence. The hum of the engines faded back. Lyra fell to her knees, breathing hard. Evan rushed to her side. Her skin was pale, her energy dimming. "I didn't mean to," she whispered. "I only wanted to remember who I was." Evan helped her up. "You're not a weapon. You're not what they made you. You're someone now, and that's enough." But deep inside, he wasn't sure he believed his own words. A soft beep came from the navigation panel. A new message appeared, blinking in red. "Tracking beacon active. Source, internal." Evan's face went pale. "No. They put something inside the ship." Lyra looked horrified. "Not the ship. Me." He turned toward her, stunned. "You mean they can still find you?" She nodded weakly. "It was hidden in my core, a failsafe. If I awaken fully, the signal activates. They'll come." Evan clenched his fists. "Then we remove it." She shook her head. "You can't. It's fused with my life code. If it's destroyed, I die." He stood there for a long moment, the sound of the engines filling the silence. Finally, he said, "Then we run until the stars die." But Lyra's eyes, sad, gentle, told him she knew running wouldn't save them this time. Hours later, Evan stood at the observation deck. The ruins of the ancient ringworld floated nearby, vast and broken, pieces of a civilization long gone. Lyra joined him quietly. "Do you ever wonder," she asked softly, "why humans keep reaching for the stars even when the stars hurt them?" He smiled faintly. "Because we're too stubborn to stop." She tilted her head. "Then maybe that's why I was drawn to you." He looked at her. "Drawn. I felt your emptiness. It called to mine. Maybe that's what love is, two voids trying to fill each other." Evan didn't know what to say. The universe outside seemed to fade until there was only her reflection in the glass. But before he could speak, the radar screamed again. Multiple contacts. Approaching fast. He rushed to the console. "How many?" "Too many," Lyra whispered. On the screen, dozens of ships appeared. Massive, triangular vessels bearing the insignia of the Galactic Unity Command. "They found us," Evan muttered. Lyra's voice trembled. "They're not here to capture me this time. They'll destroy everything." The intercom crackled. A cold voice echoed through the cockpit. "Pilot Evan Walker, this is Admiral Ryden of the Galactic Unity. Step away from the Alindra construct. This is your only warning." Evan stared at the speaker. "You're not taking her." Ryden's tone was calm, almost pitying. "She's not a woman, Walker. She's the last of the empathy prototypes. If she continues to awaken, she could rewrite every sentient mind in the system. Evan looked at Lyra. She was trembling, confused. Is it true? Tears shimmered in her glowing eyes. I don't know. I don't want to be that. Evan took a breath. Then we find out before they do. He slammed his hand on the throttle. The Solace roared forward, diving straight toward the Ringworld ruins. Blaster fire lit up the sky behind them. Lyra grabbed the console, shouting, Evan, what are you doing? Buying us time. The ship spun through collapsing debris, dodging falling metal and beams of energy. One blast grazed the hull, shaking the entire vessel. Through the chaos, Lyra's voice rose, scared but determined. If we reach the core of the ring, we can hide there. It blocks signals. Then point the way, he yelled. The ship dove deeper into the ruins as explosions painted the void in fiery colors. Behind them, the Admiral's voice echoed once more. You can't hide forever, Walker. The bride will awaken, and when she does, she'll destroy you first. Evan gritted his teeth. We'll see about that. As the Solace vanished into the darkness of the ancient ring, Lyra's eyes glowed again, brighter this time, almost like a sunrise inside a storm. The stars looked colder than ever. Evan sat in the cockpit of the Solace, staring at the empty void where the alien ring used to be. Only dust and glowing fragments floated now, a quiet grave for what had been. He hadn't moved for hours. The only sound was the faint hum of the ship's systems, now strangely alive again. Lyra, he whispered. The console flickered, and her voice, soft and distant, replied. I'm here, Evan. Always here. His heart jumped. Lyra, you're alive. Not as before, she said. My body is gone. But my mind, my energy, was absorbed into the ship's core. We are bonded now, in every sense. Evan laughed bitterly, tears in his eyes. So the ship has a soul now? There was a pause. Then she said gently, a soul that loves you. He closed his eyes. Then don't ever leave again. I can't, she said softly. But, Evan, something is coming. His eyes snapped open. What do you mean? Look outside. He turned the sensors back on, and froze. A ripple of light was spreading through space, far away but moving fast. Every monitor began flashing red warnings. Alert. Graviton wave approaching. Source unknown. Lyra, is that from the ring? No, she said. It's from the heart. Before it vanished, it sent out a signal. Someone, or something, is answering it. Evan's blood ran cold. The first ones. Or what's left of them, she replied. The wave hit moments later. The ship shook violently, alarms blaring. Evan gripped the controls. Hold together, Solace. I'm reinforcing the shields, Lyra said, her voice growing louder, stronger. I can feel the energy pattern. It's trying to open a passage. A passage? To where? Before she could answer, a rift tore open in front of them, a hole in space itself, swirling with white and gold light. Evan, she whispered. It's calling us. He stared at the rift, eyes wide. That's insane. We don't know what's in there. You didn't know me either, she said softly. But you still reached out. The words hit him like a heartbeat. He remembered that rainy dock, the lonely figure waiting, the eyes that looked half human, half alien, and the promise he made that night. He took a deep breath. All right, Lyra. One more leap. The engines roared. The Solace turned toward the rift and accelerated. The light swallowed them whole. Inside, time and space twisted. Evan saw fragments, worlds of crystal, beings made of energy, flashes of Lyra's face smiling through it all. Then suddenly, silence. The ship drifted into a calm void filled with floating lights, each like a tiny sun, pulsing softly. Where are we? Evan asked. Lyra's voice echoed all around him now, stronger than ever. Home. This is where the first ones sleep. The heart brought us here to finish what it began. He frowned. Finish what? To awaken them, she said. But not all will be kind. Before he could respond, one of the glowing orbs flickered. A massive shape emerged, a being of light and shadow, ancient and graceful. It spoke in a voice that made the ship tremble. Elindra, you have returned. And you bring a human. Evan froze. It knows me. The being's eyes flared like suns. You carry her bond. You are the bridge. But bridges must hold the weight of both worlds, or collapse. Lyra's voice trembled. Evan, they will test us. Then we'll face it together, he said. The giant being extended its hand, light swirling like a storm. Prove that your bond is more than code and emotion. Show us your truth, human. Evan tightened his fists. You want proof? Fine. He stood tall, eyes locked on the blinding figure. I'll prove that love, real love, doesn't care what species we are. The being leaned forward, curious. We shall see, bridge-bearer. The trial begins. The light around them grew brighter, rising like a storm. Evan glanced at the control panel. Lyra, whatever happens, don't let go. Her voice came firm, powerful now. Never again. The storm swallowed them both.